Joining us now on the Deseret First Credit Union hotline is one of our good friends, dual threat analyst for football and basketball on BYUtv, Blaine Fowler. Blaine, there's a lot to talk about. Are you ready to go, man?
Yeah, I miss you guys. I feel like I haven't seen you forever because we were on the road last week with the team, and I didn't see you. So at least this Saturday I'll get to see you both at the game, right? Tomorrow night we all get together, right?
Party, yeah.
I can only go – if I go like 10 days without seeing my boys, I get a little bit of separation anxiety, so I'm worried.
You're like the only one, so we appreciate that. We'll take care of that tomorrow. All right, Blaine, I know we were just talking about basketball and BYU's road scheduling and whatnot. We'll get to that in a minute. We need to go to the position that you understand the best, the position that you played at BYU, quarterback. Taysom Hill decides to stay at BYU for the 2016 season. What do you think about that now that 72 hours or so have passed since that news came out?
I think it's great. I think that that's what he should do. I think it's good for him. I think it's good for the program. It's so funny. So we were over in doing the road trip at San Francisco and Santa Clara, and on Sunday, Brenda and I, we went and over to visit Steve and Barb Young over at their house in Palo Alto. And Steve and I stood out by our car before we headed to the airport for 30 minutes. This is before Taysom announced it. And we just talked about Taysom, Tanner, what they should do. And, I really value Steve's opinion, obviously. And Steve's like, he just needs to come back, stay healthy for a season, play football, show what he can do, and be a higher draft pick next year. That's what he needs to do. And this is before Taysom announced that that's what he was going to do. And I've agreed with that all along, and I think that that's what we're going to see happen.
When him coming back, what effect do you think that has immediately on BYU's team as they get into spring ball, even if he's not healthy enough to participate fully?
Well, he's a fantastic leader, and the team trusts that he's such a playmaker that it really lifts, kind of their focus, their energy level, all that. And even though he can't be out running around, he could be in the weight room lifting weights. He can be there in meetings. He can be learning what they're learning. And now the nice part is they also trust Tanner. So now you've got two guys that are both very serious workaholics that can set the tone for this offense and really for this team. That's never a bad thing. That conversation I had with Steve, he was talking to me about when he went to San Francisco, and he went thinking that Joe Montana was injured and wasn't going to play anymore. Ha! He goes, that was not true. But Bill Walsh sat he and Joe down in the same room and said, hey, listen, you're both great players. Joe is obviously the starter because he has more experience, but you're both great players. You both have a chance to, you're both Pro Bowl caliber guys. You're both great players. And I'm going to need you both. This season in the NFL, just like it is in college, the chance of playing with one guy at quarterback without him getting hurt all season long, there's just so many injuries. You got to have two guys. So I'm going to need you both. So with that said, you guys have to figure out how to deal with it. I'm not dealing with it. You two figure out how your relationship is going to be. And then he walked out of the room. And I was like, wow, so what'd you do? And he says, well, we figured it out. And everybody thought it was awkward, but it wasn't as awkward as everybody thinks it was for Steve and Joe. That's the situation we have with these two. We got two great quarterbacks now, both with NFL potential. I can't think of a bad thing about that in any way, shape, or form. I think it's a great situation for BYU.
Ty Detmer said the same thing yesterday when I brought up the fact that a lot of fans, and probably myself included at one point, saying, well, it's a good problem to have two good quarterbacks on the same roster. And he looked right at me and he said, why is it a problem? And fans got a kick out of that. And he has a point. Why would it be a bad thing to have both of them?
Yeah, it's not a problem. It's only a problem if you have, if one of those guys has the mentality that, hey, I should have an entitlement and I should be the man and nobody should be able to challenge me for it. Now, the good news is Ty comes from an NFL mentality. He played behind, Ty backed up Brett Favre, Ty backed up Donovan McNabb, and started, too, in the league, backed up Michael Vick, he backed up Steve Young. So he's been in a situation where he's had to go compete every day, and nobody handed any of those guys. In the NFL, if you're the best guy, you play that Sunday. So he brings that mentality, and tough players bring that mentality. They expect to be challenged. I believe, just knowing Tanner and knowing Taysom, that they're cool with that. And if you got two quarterbacks that are cool with competition and helping each other get better and push each other, wow, now it's nothing but good. If they're petty and they feel like they have an entitlement and they try to divide the team and rally certain groups of guys around them, then it can be detrimental. But I know both of these guys. That's not who they are. That's not what's going to happen at BYU. And so if that's not going to happen, then you don't have, like, we can't even call it a problem, not even a good problem. It's not a problem.
Yeah, it's not Heaps Nelson at all 2010.
Nope,
and
not at all.
Here's an idea that we have right now, Blaine. We have no idea. Everything okay there, brother?
Yeah. I just fell. No, it's okay.
Oh my goodness!
Live alert!
No, I didn't fall. Did you feel the sensation that you were flying? Because my phone fell out of my hand. Did you feel that sensation? Because you guys, for just a second there, you were airborne. But I want you to know, I wish you guys had a camera on me.
Did you catch it?
I caught it before it hit the ground.
Oh, that's an elite backup quarterback right there.
Yeah, he was a quarterback, but he could have played receiver.
I wasn't sure if I still had skills, but that just proved to myself. That just raised my own self-confidence right there.
Come play on our intramural team, Blaine. Hey,
you know what? We're moving to Provo next
know.
month. I might come play with you guys.
Hey, we have this idea. We don't know if Taysom Hill is going to be healthy in time. We don't know to what degree he will be healthy. We're thinking that Tanner Mangum is the starting quarterback until Taysom Hill actually challenges Tanner. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, no, I think that that's the way it has to be because Tanner's going to be the guy that's going to take all the reps in spring ball. Well, not all, because they're going to have to spread those out. They need more than just two. You know, they need to be developing folks too. So Coy's, I like Ty calls him Little Coy. So Little Coy, I don't know if Coy wants us to call him Little Coy. Yeah, but Little Coy is going to get some reps. Hodge is going to need to get some reps. But Tanner's going to have to be the leader in the huddle and on the field in spring ball. But Taysom's going to have a presence there. Taysom's going to have to come back, prove he's 100% healthy, prove that he can execute the offense physically, not just mentally, before he takes that job from Tanner. But I think going into fall camp, you know, maybe you go in there with Tanner taking the number one reps, or you split reps and you see in fall camp who's the best guy. So you give him a week and a half maybe in fall camp to determine who your starter is going to be. But I think Tanner has an opportunity here to really develop over spring and through the summer because he's going to get a lot of reps without Taysom being there.
Okay, Blaine, one final football question before we make the transition to basketball, and that is this. If, best case scenario, BYU has a healthy Taysom Hill in fall camp, will he be the starter on September 3rd?
So if Taysom is the guy he was going into the Nebraska game, it would be awfully hard for him not to be the guy. And because Tanner is a great player with NFL potential, that was I'm not saying he's a young guy because he went and served a mission and he came back. So young is a missed term. I don't know if that's the right word, but his experience level, even though he played a whole season, isn't that of Taysom's. Taysom, at halftime of that Nebraska game, I'm watching him, I'm going, this is a first-round draft pick. Like, this is an NFL-ready guy right now. And my conversation with Steve Young, he agreed with that. If Taysom's that guy, how does he not start?
Yeah.
But so we don't know if he's that guy. We don't know it until he comes back from that injury. He's in the huddle. He's dropping back. He's making reads, and he's throwing balls. So I can't really answer it until I watch him for at least 10 days in practice. Then you can ask me, and I'll give you an opinion.
And we have almost 200 days to talk about that. Yay. Yay. Men's hoops last night. Our Twitter question today. How would you describe last night's BYU win over San Diego? What do you think, Blaine?
You know what? Any win on the road is a good win. And BYU's in a situation now where they need to build momentum into the tournament so that they can win that tournament. And I'm not sure that was a momentum builder. That was almost like, oh, that's a relief. We got out of there. We didn't shoot it well again, and we got out of there. So I would say it was just kind of a, okay, let's get back home and play better win. They did show that they can win and not have their wings make shots, which is important. You know, they did that at Gonzaga. We haven't seen that consistently all year, but I like that they didn't settle for threes. They actually attacked the basket and got to the free throw line, so that was a good thing. So that's something good you can take out of it. But as far as do you take momentum out of that, I think you get out of there and go, okay, we're really fortunate to get out of there, made free throws, which was big down the stretch, and get a win. Now you've got to build more momentum in these last three regular season games to go into the tournament on a high.
Because of scheduling, BYU in every one of their West Coast Conference seasons, and this is season number 5, have had a stretch where they've played at least 3 road games back to back to back. They've never won 3 in a row until last night, Blaine. So with the Cougars beating, 3 subpar teams, but still all on the road for the first time back to back to back, does that not create some sort of mojo giving them something coming back to Provo as they wind down the regular season?
Oh, yeah, you know what? And I think that Dave's going to talk to them about that because they're going to come away from the game. If you're a player, you come away from that game, you go, man, we should have dominated these guys, and we didn't. What happened? So then it's on the staff, and Dave Rose, he's been doing this so long, and he's so good. He'll spin it for him, and he'll say, listen, let's take a look at what we just did. 2 of those teams are dramatic opposites. So you went on the road, and you played at San Francisco against a team that wants to run the ball up and down the floor and would like to have a game in the 90s. And you played in that style of play and got away with a win. Then you go into San Diego 2 games later. You got Santa Clara in the middle that just doesn't match with you physically. So that was an easy one. But then you go to San Diego, and they're going to slow the tempo down, control the tempo at home, and you had to play a completely different style, and you won there too. That is a very, very positive thing because you get in the tournament, you're going to play 3 games, and it may be 3 contrast styles, and you've got to be good. So, yeah, he can spin that into a positive and talk to the guys about that and make them feel better about what I know they're not feeling good about, and that is the way they played in that game. They cannot feel good about that as a player, but Dave can make them feel good about it.
You can watch Blaine Fowler on BYUtv tomorrow night as BYU comes home for the first of 3 home games to round out the regular season, 9 Eastern against San Diego. Again, with Dave McCann on the call, Blaine Fowler joining him on BYUtv. Blaine, despite being airborne, no beep interview.
Yeah.
Well, so no beep? But
no
beeps. A beautiful rush of wind and a feeling of freedom in flight.
Blaine, great to have you, man. Thanks for the time.
Talk to you guys Saturday. Bye.